That's awkward.
I thought you weren't here for the last one.
We recorded 2 weeks ago. We recorded them all together.
You just hadn't been here, but you were here for the recording. All right. Welcome back and Happy New Year.
That's right. How long do you get to say that for? Like 2-3 weeks?
Through
4
today.
Weeks? Through October?
Today's it.
I would say just a few days after New Year's.
All right. Well, then our time's up.
We're actually recording this after New Year's. We said Happy New Year's in our last one, but we were recording in December.
I know.
It's kind of weird.
Bad mistake, wasn't it?
I know.
But you tried to correct us on it, and I didn't catch it.
Did I?
Yeah. Because we kept saying, yeah, are y'all? I said, are y'all staying up late tonight? And it was actually not New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Man.
All right, we've got something special today.
You told us we were going to do it?
Yeah, on our
Straight
last
into it.
on our last episode, we talked what this one was going to be about, and one of the greatest mysteries in American history.
That I didn't know nothing about.
The only unsolved hijacking
Do you know anything about it
in
now?
American history.
You're about to learn today.
I've done a few vocabulary words.
When I go to heaven, and if the Lord says, Jody, you got 2 questions you can ask me.
Is the Lord a genie in a bottle?
Hopefully
Don't think it
not.
works that way, Jody.
Hopefully not. But anything you want to
D.B.
ask.
Cooper better not be on your list.
First is going to be who killed John Benet Ramsey, because I really want to know.
Okay. That was a unique, random fact.
Terrible questions.
And then my next one would be who is D.B. Cooper.
Oh.
That's the only 2 things I want to know.
That's all.
That's it.
Out of all the world's
That's the
problems.
whole world. That's it.
I think my questions are different. I don't know that I have them off the top of my head. I wish I'd have known that was going to be a way you segued into this.
Think about it. We'll go back over to the end of the episode. I'd say most people know the name D.B. Cooper. Don't you think? But they don't know the facts.
I'd never heard about it, to be honest, until you told us we were recording this.
So the facts are a guy hijacks a plane. He asked for $200,000 in cash, which today would be $1.5 million. Big difference.
Okay.
He parachutes out the back, never to be seen or heard from again.
Where does he get the cash from?
The bank.
The bank.
Well, you said he hijacked a plane. I was giving somebody context for that doesn't know. He robs the bank, then hijacks the plane, right?
No.
It's just
He
money.
hijacks, and then he's got demands.
Okay.
And then once
They give him money.
Yeah.
All right. Well, fill me in.
All right, so the year is
It's the
1971.
night before Thanksgiving in 1971.
Let's see what's going on in 1971. Let's give you some context. The Vietnam War.
Not me.
It was ongoing with many anti-war protests going on around the country. Apollo 15 landed on the moon with 3 astronauts, and it was the first time that the lunar rover was driven on the moon.
That's not the first landing on the moon.
The first time the lunar rover
Okay. That's what I was going
was
to say.
driven.
Have we ever landed on the moon?
It's still up in the air, isn't it?
The moon is. Yes, it is.
The 26th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, lowering the voting age from 21 to 18. About that.
71 was happening year.
Still can't rent a car till 25, though.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's wild.
Charles Manson and his followers were sentenced for the murders of 5 people, with actress Sharon Tate being one of them. They killed him 2 years prior, 1969. 1971 is when they were sentenced. The Allman Brothers Band. Heard them?
Yeah.
Their slide guitarist died in a motorcycle accident. He was one of the brothers. Starbucks opened its first coffee shop in Seattle.
In 71.
In 71. Walt Disney World.
Is that Pike Place? Do you have that fact?
I don't have that fact.
Okay.
Walt Disney World. Opened in Florida.
That's right.
Disney World open.
Let's see what else. The Postal Reorganization Act went into effect, replacing the Post Office Department with the United States Postal Service. Did you know that?
Stamps were cheap.
The Daredevil Evel Knievel, one of my favorites growing up, set a world record when he jumped 13 cars on his motorcycle in Los Angeles, California.
Ooh.
And he would break that record in 1973 when he jumped 19 cars in Ontario, California.
What happened to Daredevils? Like, you don't see many of those. I mean,
don't.
that was a thing then, but now.
Do you ever see his wreck at Caesar's Palace?
I've seen the replay. I didn't see it live.
You ever seen it?
Probably.
It's rough. Looks like a rag doll.
Oh, it looks bad.
I don't know how many bones he broke at that time. It was bad.
And
There
his
was a
body
count
was
at one time of how
bouncing
many
and-
times or how many bones he had broken. That was one of the things that they would talk about in commentation and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, he's broken 208 bones, all of them.
Is that all of them?
So
240 something.
I don't know. I was just
So the morale of the country was not at its best during this period. Economic recession had hit the U.S. Strikes were happening with large companies. Jobs were hard to come by, and the airline industry was struggling.
who's the
It's
president?
probably because they let hijackers on.
That might be.
Who's the president?
71?
71.
Who was the president in 71?
Is that around old Jimmy Carter's time?
That's what I was thinking.
No, Jimmy Carter was late 70s. He was right before Reagan.
Was he? I don't know. I wasn't alive back then.
Nixon, Richard Nixon,
Was it?
How many bones we got in our body, Josh?
from 1969 till his resignation in 1974.
All right, so
Right.
there's
You're close.
been
I said 8, didn't I?
208.
I was
there's
close.
been documentaries, newspaper articles, books, podcasts, you name it, and you can find any good information you want to on D.B. Cooper. You also find some bad information.
I think I found that one.
So we're gonna try and cover as much as we can
Today we're gonna
about
try-
the facts.
We're trying to fall into the good category
That's
or the
right.
bad
That's right.
category.
And hopefully we can have it done in 3 episodes.
All right. Are we going
So-
to solve this mystery?
We are not going to solve this
Oh, okay.
mystery. But our last episode will go over some new information we got at the end of 2024.
Okay. Stay tuned.
All right. So just before Thanksgiving 1971, a man dressed in an all-black suit with a black clip-on JCPenney tie.
Ooh, clip on.
Yeah.
That's important.
That is it. Yeah, remember that. Hijacks a Northwest Orient Airlines flight headed to Seattle, Washington.
You know how much he paid for his ticket?
I do.
$20.
$20.
That's a crazy. From Portland to Seattle, $20.
Yeah.
You can't do that
You
nowadays.
can't. What's cheapest airfare you get now? $59. Southwest does some $59 from one city to another. Anyway,
I don't-
sorry. $20. JCPenney clip-on tag.
So in the
tie.
Right. So in the 70s,
Tags.
hijacking was an international problem. From 1960, now listen to these facts now. From 1968 to 1972, over 300 aircraft were hijacked worldwide, averaging 1 a week.
Good night.
So in that same time frame, 137 planes were hijacked in the U.S. alone. 137. 111 of these planes were seized for destination purposes, and 26 were extortion. 90 of the 111 destination hijackings wanted to go to Cuba. Many were seeking political asylum to Cuba due to their pro-communist views, seeing Fidel Castro's regime as a refuge from the U.S. government.
Wow.
So the extortion ones where they just wanted money or they wanted prisoners released, from jail.
Meet my demands.
Yep. So during this period, hijackings were known as skyjackings. Do y'all remember when that was?
I remember you telling us that previously.
Yeah.
I don't remember that from my childhood.
Because the term specifically refers to the act of taking control of an aircraft in the sky, essentially jacking a plane while it's airborne, hence the sky part of the word.
Well, why don't they call a carjacking a ground jacking?
I don't know. I
You're
thought
not on
about
the
that.
ground. You're in a car.
Okay.
All right, so
Well, those should be plane jackings then. I disagree with all of these.
They're air jacks.
so now back to the story.
Okay, sorry, Jody.
So it's November 24th, 1971.
The night before Thanksgiving.
The day before Thanksgiving, or not. Even
How many times you gonna say that?
As many times as I have to.
it's about mid-afternoon. A man is going
Not a
to
creature is stirring.
Yep.
Not even a mouse. Oh, sorry.
he's going to walk into the Portland International Airport.
In working.
Not D.B. Cooper, but Dan Cooper.
Oh,
Dan. Ooh.
Dan.
With his
Remember that.
clip-on tie.
Yeah. He appears to be in the early to mid-40s,
Okay.
darker black suit, like we said, white shirt, clip-on tie, and a raincoat. Now, this is the only time I hear about the raincoat. They describe him wearing that right now, but then at no other point do I really hear about the raincoat. So
Disregard the raincoat.
So there's nothing unusual going on with him. This was the 70s.
Was it raining?
Not yet, but it was. It was going to.
Okay.
This was the 70s, more of your business type flu. But not just that. People dress classier than they do nowadays.
Could you smoke on the plane?
You could.
All right.
So you weren't seeing a whole lot of pajamas worn, at the airport.
No people at Walmart.
You gotta have to hide your vapes.
Yeah. But I like the fact that he was wearing a clip-on tie because think about it. If you're going to do what he was going to do, would you want a tie that you have to really undo and take? You just want one you can pull off, right? What do you think about the clip-on tie?
When was the clip-on tie invented?
If you got that fact.
No, I was I was asking a
I have no
question.
idea.
I mean, clearly since 1971 or before 1971, but
it was a smart invention. Right?
It was.
You ever wore one?
I've worn one.
I have too.
Not in my adulthood.
When I was like 9.
I was gonna say I don't ever on a regular Sunday go to church with a clip-on on.
All right.
Maybe we should bring them back.
You too.
Bring them back.
The next episode.
I come closer to wearing a clip-on bow tie than I would.
The next a bolo tie.
I've done bow ties
I do
because they look
they
semi-real.
hide pretty good.
and they actually still go around your neck.
So when we do the next episode, let's wear clip-on ties. We should have all dressed up like D.B. Cooper on this episode. Next episode, we'll
Not
do
next,
that.
but the third one.
The third one.
The final one.
The final. There you go. All right. No one happened to notice that he didn't have any luggage, but he did have a briefcase with a small paper bag.
So 71 checked bags are a thing. They're not a thing. Do it.
71, you just walk to the plane and hand them your bag and say, put that on there.
Okay.
We'll get into a little bit of that
right.
here in a second, talking about the security.
I'm saying that it's not as.
You're not putting it through an x-ray machine.
Yeah, you don't have hardly anything.
This is why we do.
One of the reasons.
He walks up to the ticket counter and purchases a one-way ticket for Northwest Orient Flight 305 to Seattle Tacoma International Airport. That would depart at 2:50 p.m. that same day. And then I was going to say, how much do you think the ticket cost? But somebody already asked that.
$20.
Very good, Josh.
Thank you. I also did the vocabulary word on hijack and skyjack.
Did you? And now he paid for the ticket with cash. And when he was asked what name to print on the ticket, he said Dan Cooper.
Okay.
No ID was required. I can't talk. So, of course, he didn't show any. So that's part of one of the security things, measures they didn't have.
Security.
Just tell them whatever name you want. We'll put it on the ticket. All right, so let's talk about...
So is there just this general idea that we're trusting people at this point in time? I mean, given the number of planes that are being hijacked right now, nobody was thinking, these folks are lying. We need to stop it.
I guess they just didn't come across, hey, we need to revamp the whole system.
Okay.
Plus, at this point, they were saying the airlines were in trouble. They weren't doing good.
They didn't have any money to be investing
Yeah, so they're
in.
not going to invest in security if they're having trouble,
They don't know if they're even going to survive.
Yeah. So security in 1971. So remember what year it is. If it was 2024 and you had no luggage and paid with cash and bought a one-way ticket just a few hours before the flight, it would be a red flag, and they'd probably pull you out of line and pat you down, check you out, ask you some questions. Probably, right? So there were very few x-ray machines at airports. No cameras, very few security personnel. You could take liquids on board, of course. No personal pat-downs. You could very easily carry a knife or gun. No one would know. So...
Nice.
And you could smoke on board.
I knew that one was one I was asking about.
I'd be so mad. Sitting there.
Did they have smoking and non-smoking section? Could you get the non-smoking?
How'd that work?
I don't know. I'm recirculated air.
Let them open windows over there?
That's why they have the blind.
That's what the curtain's for.
Yeah.
Keep the smoke out. Oh, goodness.
All right, now this would only be a 30-minute flight. And this particular flight was only a third full. So it's not full. It's not even half full.
Okay.
Now, he bought this ticket last minute, and this caused him to be one of the last few people to board. So, let's see. So he walked all the way back when he got on the plane, all the way back to the back of the plane to seat or row 18C It was the last row just before the bathrooms, and he had the whole row to himself because remember, the plane is fairly empty.
Okay.
All right, so just before takeoff, 23-year-old flight attendant or stewardess. What do you call them?
Flight attendant.
Flight attendant?
I think so. Used to be stewardess, but I think they prefer.
Yeah, I call them flight attendant.
Do you?
All right, so Florence Schaffner begins taking drink orders. So you got to remember a short flight, and they're take drink orders at this point. They don't do anything like that nowadays. They don't offer you peanuts, do they?
Not
Short
on
flight?
not on a 30-minute flight.
No.
I don't know. I know on a 4-hour flight you do.
Yeah.
You get a drink and a snack.
Well, it's like a-
2 hour flight you do.
Like
Okay.
Atlanta to Birmingham is 30 minutes.
You don't get nothing on that.
No, you barely can unbuckle your seatbelt. All right, so she makes her way to the last row to the man in seat 18C, and he orders a bourbon and Coke. Now he pays for the $1 drink with a $20 bill.
Is
Flo-
that critical?
Keep the change, little miss. That's what he said.
Florence was not able to make change for him, but promised to, be back later and do so. So now he's sipping on his drink and doing something that you don't see anymore. He's smoking. He's smoking Raleigh cigarettes. That's important too. Remember that. Which was not a popular brand, and hopefully we'll talk about that here in a little bit. All right.
So he's smoking, sipping his bourbon and Coke in his black suit with his clip-on tie.
But he's having a good afternoon.
How many? I'm not
Back row.
I'm not a smoker, so how many cigarettes could you smoke in a 30-minute period, you think?
Beats me.
I ain't got a clue.
4 or 5?
I'd say
Is that a
not.
lot?
That sounds like a lot.
Sounds like a lot. How
You're
quick?
chain smoking that year.
How long does it take to smoke one cigarette?
I don't
know either.
Let us know.
Well, I don't know.
Those of you that smoke
Well,
out
think
there,
about
let
this.
us
People
know.
that take a 15-minute break, they smoke a cigarette, so we know 15 minutes you can smoke one.
That's assuming they only smoke
guess.
one on a break.
All right, so let's go back to when this man, Dan Cooper, was at the ticket counter. He used a maybe not so usual question. He asked what type of plane that he was getting on. Was it a Boeing 727? And that's exactly the type of plane he was getting on. So why would he ask that?
Maybe he's a plane enthusiast. Maybe he.
And it just so happens that that's the right type of flight or plane.
Maybe he was going to hijack it.
Maybe.
Maybe.
You think that was his plan?
Mm-hmm.
You don't think anything? I don't think I'd have thought anything of that question. What type plane is it?
If you work at
727.
the ticket counter, you don't. If somebody asks you that,
No.
you think you get that a lot. You
I
think?
grew up in a household with a grandfather that's in the Air Force, and so he asked what every make and model of a plane are. I mean, what'd you fly on today? Like my uncle worked for Delta, and he'd always ask. And anytime I've ever flown, he'll say, "What'd you fly on today?" So it wouldn't have raised a flag at all for me. I just thought, hey, Pop's over here asking me about the plane.
But if it's you, have you ever thought about asking? Have you ever wondered? I've never
I look
thought
at the
about.
app. I look at the app before it's on the app now. I always look.
Jody, I think you might be on the island here. I think you're the only one that's not checking. Maybe you should start checking what.
Which I
plane
always
you're
look
on.
because that's when you choose your seats. And it depends on which plane you're on. Depends on the configuration of your seats. And that depends on where
It's
you
been
want to
10
sit.
years since I've flown, so
It's been a
I
couple
don't
since
know if
I've
there was.
flown.
Yeah.
I want to fly again. I like flying.
All right, Jody.
All right,
so
back to the story.
727.
Yep.
He's confirmed it.
An interesting feature, and we're going to talk about this right now because this has something to do with later on in the story.
It's the night before Thanksgiving.
Not a skyjack, but a hijack.
The 727 was that the rear stairs lowered, allowing you to get on and off from the rear of the plane. Have you ever seen that?
Like actually loading like on the tarmac kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I've never seen a plane that had them lowered out, but I have had air stairs that I've loaded and unloaded on the tarmac.
So this was the 70s, of course, so things were done differently. And a lot of times they used the rear stairs as well as the side stairs to load and unload passengers. So, because they didn't pull up to, and I don't know what that's called when you pull up to the,
No, what's that called? I know what it's called.
The terminal.
It's the terminal, but it's the little thing that comes out, the jetway,
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Jetway?
jet bridge.
Yeah. All right, so these rear stairs will be a very important part of the story. So I wonder if this would have changed everything when we get into the story if this plane wasn't the right type that he needed. It wasn't going to have those stairs in the back. Would he have just like changed his mind? Come back another day, I'll take the next flight. Because he needs those stairs, Josh. He's got to have those
The
stairs.
stairs are going to be critical.
Very, very critical. Okay. So now the plane is ready to take off. Florence Schaffner takes a seat in the jump seat at the back of the plane, behind him. The man in 18C turns around and hands a note to Florence.
Uh-oh.
Florence does not read the note, but instead puts it in her pocket.
Ooh.
Why did she put it in her pocket? Because she thought it was a...
I figured she thinks he's
Like
flirting.
a love letter.
Exactly. Like how? Like
Here's my phone number.
yeah. Like how much you got to think about yourself? Oh, I'm getting a phone number right now. Oh, not like an actual note.
It's like you read my notes. Did you
What did I
read
say
my
that?
notes?
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not.
Would you, you ever had somebody give you their number like that? Just said, hey. You
Oh,
ever-
I used to get it all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
It's back when he wore bolo ties, and road bulls.
Under my windshield wiper on my truck. It was unbelievable. I had to knock them off of me.
Man. Jody the heartbreaker.
I had to remind Amanda not to listen to this one.
You only kept half of them right.
Where's that little black book of yours at?
So, flight attendants at this time were always being hit on by the businessmen because there was a lot of businessmen that flew at the time. Okay.
Pigs,
And it was-
filthy animals,
Yep. And
scoundrels.
it was not unusual for them to be handing notes.
I thought you were about to say it. It's not easier than be handy.
To the flight attendants with their phone number on it.
Oh, goodness.
gosh.
Right.
Little
So
stanky leg.
Skanky leg. Bring it back.
we never did go into that. Our recording stopped on that episode like 5
would've made it
seconds
big,
after I
Jody.
said that, and
We
we
would've
just
made it
kept
big.
going. Yeah, we didn't know it wasn't being recorded.
I was laughing so hard I had tears rolling down
Oh,
my
it was
face.
funny. It was funny. I hate we didn't get it. All right, so Dan Cooper, seeing her do this, reaches over to her and says, "Miss, you better read that note.
Ooh.
I have a bomb."
Oh, snap.
So being
I'm
scared,
the bomb. What? I know I did good.
So being scared, Florence takes the note out of her pocket and
She's 23.
reads it to herself.
Okay.
Very good. Are you running these things through your mind
Yeah,
for the
he's
test?
processing.
I'm processing
For the
the
test
whole
that's
scenario. I'm painting this. I'm telling you, I don't know a lot of DB Cooper
He's
facts.
doing a Bob Ross. He's painting a picture right now.
It's a happy little mistake.
Kind of like your grilled cheese.
What did y'all think about my grilled cheeses? I sent them pictures of. Well,
Video.
let's
you
go back.
sent a video of you making a Bob Ross
All right,
grilled
let's
cheese.
go back to where the grilled cheese sandwich maker came from. We played Dirty Santa,
Yep.
and I brought that as my present
And
ended
stole
up-
it back. That
Stole
just
it
seems like that's
back.
bad etiquette. I think that's bad etiquette.
I took mine home too.
Yeah,
But then I regifted it to somebody else.
yeah.
I did.
Well, I'm keeping this one because I like it. So so it makes Bob Ross's face on the top, top and bottom part of the bread. So.
Didn't y'all
Does it make you feel
set
weird when
it
you take a
to-
bite out of Bob Ross?
Not really.
Didn't
You
somebody
take a bite
set
and
it
Bob Ross just staring you in the eyes.
Yeah.
Did Amanda set it to like Bob Ross talking while
No, I did. I
Okay,
actually
that was-
found a video of him talking about a pretty little bird or pretty little whatever, and I just put that in the background.
Okay.
Do you like that?
I did like that. It was a nice touch.
You don't give me credit for nothing. You
No.
just automatically thought Amanda did it.
Well, I kind of it seemed more her speed than your speed. That's what it seemed like.
All right, let's go back to the note.
You better read that
All
note,
right, so
girl.
she reads that note. The note said, "Miss, I have a bomb in here. I would like
that was
you.
polite.
I would like
Miss.
for you to sit beside me."
Oh,
Wasn't a long note.
Come
Wasn't a
here.
long note.
Yeah.
Yeah. She looks up and the man is motioning for her to sit beside him.
He had to look like such a creep at this point. Come here, miss.
I got a bomb.
So she
Show you what's behind this jacket.
easy now, easy, Tiger. She asks if he's serious. The man proceeds to open his briefcase. Remember, he's got a briefcase, no luggage. but
Would
a
you say,
briefcase.
"Are you serious?" In that
She
moment,
asked if
I'm
you're-
saying,
yeah.
would you?
Are you
I
serious?
do the turn around and look, and then there's the back of the plane.
Yeah.
If you do a little bit of the neck with it, are you serious?
You got to be kidding me.
So he opens up his briefcase where she sees a large battery connected by red wires to 8 cylinders.
That's why I can't take a double A on an airfare anymore.
So guess what she does?
Sits down.
She sits down.
That's what I do. Yes, sir.
So now another flight attendant, Tina Mucklow,
Says, get up and get back to work.
notices that Florence isn't helping with her regular job duties. So she walks to the back of the plane.
Not today, Florence.
Florence hands her the note. Upon reading it, Tina calls the cockpit and talks to Captain Scott.
Why didn't he sit down? Why didn't she sit down too? The note said, ma'am, I'd like for you to sit with me.
I don't know. I really don't know how she was able to give that note to without him like slapping her hand and say, "Whoa, now."
Yeah.
I just want you to know about this. I don't know. All right, so at this point, the plane was already at 10,000 feet, and it's now pressurized. I'm just saying that because it's later on we're going to talk about pressurized.
Okay.
And I meant to send you
They
something. about-
pressurize it early, though, don't they?
Yeah.
Thought that's a thing they do on the ground.
No, usually when it gets to 8, 9, 10,000
That's when they
feet,
start
it starts
pressurizing.
pressurizing. Yeah, and I did. I had some. I was going to send Spencer for you to read about pressurization, and I didn't do it. So, all right, Captain Scott relays the message to ground control, where they consider it to be a credible threat. Why would you not? I mean, were they going
He showed it to him, so here's a bomb.
I got something.
Several minutes later, Cooper provides Florence with a list of demands.
He's got this thing playing
But he's
down.
got some sticky notes in his pocket.
He wants
Imagine if you put
got
them in the
one
wrong order.
No, he's got a little dispenser. He's just sticking out of his shirt pocket.
Get some. Oh, was I supposed to go pocket? Breast pocket.
so he wants
Front pocket.
$200,000. How much did we say that was nowadays?
1.5 million.
1.5 million. He wants it in a backpack. That's important too. Remember that. And he wants it done by 5 p.m. He wants fuel ready for when they land. So apparently he plans on refueling and taking back off.
Okay.
So, all right. And 4 parachutes. 2 front parachutes and 2 back parachutes. At this point, the regular passengers aren't aware of what's going on. They don't know.
They're just
Yeah, they're just flying. They're along
headed
for-
to Seattle.
Cooper-
Go to get some of that coffee.
Cooper now puts on a pair of sunglasses. And he wears them the rest of the time.
It's bright up there in the afternoon.
He remains calm, and no one thinks about him because being strange or anything. Because they say he's very polite the whole time he's on there. He's just a very polite man.
He said, "Miss,
Yeah,
Miss, would you sit right here, please?"
they said everyone he comes in contact with considers him to be a gentleman. So I guess he stood out a little bit because he was so nice. I don't know.
Don't be nice. It's a red flag.
Now, there is really only one passenger on the plane that is paying attention to Cooper. So you're talking about all the passengers. They're just trying to get from point A to point B. You really only got one person that, noticed him. And it's a college student that's sitting on the row across from Cooper, and he's traveling home for Thanksgiving. The reason he's paying attention to him is because he thinks Florence, the flight attendant, is attractive.
Oh yeah.
And doesn't understand why she is spending so much time with this older guy.
That's right.
Get off my girl, man.
Now, Florence,
I have a
remember,
note for her too, dadgummit.
how old's Florence?
23.
That's right. So she would be close to his age. So, and
Love
Dan
it
is
first
in the
flight.
40s.
Come on, old dude. Get
right.
over it.
But Dan's got the money.
Let's go back to the parachutes for a
You
minute.
can have a lot of it.
You've got front packs and you've got back packs. The back parachute is the main chute. The front chute is your reserve chute. Okay? So it's often thought that he asked for 4 parachutes, but in fact he got 2 sets of parachutes. Okay?
Got it.
All right. So Florence takes the list of demands to the captain, while Tina stays with Cooper. Cooper also has several rules that must be kept, or he won't think twice about detonating the bomb. Number 1, don't tell the other passengers. Okay.
Okay.
Pretty short and easy. Number 2, stay in the air till all his demands are met, meaning once they have the $200,000 and the parachutes are ready, they will land, refuel, and take back off. Number 3, He also wants meals for the passengers and crew. He wants all of this done by 5 p.m., and that's 2 hours from now, so he's got 2 hours.
So he's turned this 30-minute flight into a 2-hour deal.
Right. So this is only I didn't see hardly anybody talk about the meals either. This is, never hear another thing about the meals. When they land and all that. No.
Is anybody getting off the plane when they go down? They clearing the plane out?
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're almost there. Number 4, he also tells Tina that she is in charge of getting the money when they land and bring it and the parachutes back on board.
All right, Tina,
So,
big responsibility.
We thought Florence was the go-to. Apparently he's
He
kicked
used
her
Florence
to
to
the
get to
curb.
Tina. Tina was the older one. He didn't want Florence this time.
Tina can get it done.
I was going to say, he's like, Tina, knock this thing out.
So now all they're doing is circling the Seattle-Tacoma International Airport because remember, this was a very short flight, only 30 minutes,
That's what I
and
was
they've
gonna
got a
say.
long time to wait.
So nobody's getting antsy at this point?
I would think they'd be like, hey,
Why are we at a constant bank?
I've got it. Yeah.
Can we land this joker?
So back then, do they not have connecting flights possibly?
Their watch doesn't work on the plane.
I mean, they're not say, hey,
Somebody's watching their clock going, dude, how long is this thing going to take?
All right, now every agency is involved on the ground of meeting the demands as well as assessing the situation. The authorities put Captain Scott in charge. The airport is shut down. Local banks are contacted. Remember that? You asked earlier where the money came from? So that the money can be collected, and they are cataloging the serial numbers as they go. They contact a local skydiving business to gather up the parachutes, so everything is moving as quick as possible. Okay? The lead investigator with the FBI, Ralph Himmelsbach,
Ooh.
tough name,
Say that one 3 times.
was
fast.
was back in Portland trying to gather information on who this guy might be. He spoke with 2 airport employees who remember a guy acting a little odd, and the employee at the ticket counter remembers the same man asking if the flight would be on a 727. She was also able to provide a name for the man. Remember the name he gave? Dan Cooper.
Dan.
And since he paid in cash, there was no paper trail to follow. Remember, there's no cameras, so there's no camera footage to have a visual. No way of knowing if this was his real name. You didn't pay with a credit card or a check. It depended on the airlines if they would even take a credit card because they were still new and not widely accepted yet.
All right. I knew you said cash. $20.
Yeah. Now
He's out $40 so far.
It's after
'Cause
5
I bet
o'clock.
Florence didn't give us change. What do you think? She promised him change. I bet she didn't.
You're right.
I bet she said, "Nah, you got."
I'm sure
I'm
he
keeping
forgot
those
and she
$19.
forgot. All right, so now it's after 5 p.m. The plane is still circling the airport. The weather is changing. That's important too. So it's now raining.
Oh, jacket's important.
Yep. So with the deadline not being met, they could tell that Cooper was getting a little anxious. So he has Tina, the other flight attendant we talked about, call the captain. Captain Scott calls the airline or the airport at 5:20. They inform him that the fuel trucks are ready. They have the money, so it's ready for 2 of the parachutes. Hold on.
Money's ready.
Yeah, the money's ready.
And 2
Fuel's
parachutes.
ready.
2 parachutes. Fuel, yeah. Captain Scott communicates this to Cooper and asks, do you want me to go ahead and land since they almost have all the demands met? Okay. It's because they were still waiting on the two other parachutes. Let's see. So Cooper gives the command to land the plane. So at 5:39, the plane lands. A fuel truck, a ladder truck, and an unmarked police car meet the plane on the tarmac. Tina goes down and meets the car to retrieve a large canvas bag that contains the $200,000 in $20 denominations. Tina re-enters the airplane, at which point the 35 passengers exit the airplane,
Okay, that's what I needed.
still not knowing anything is going on.
They're just going along to get
Just
along.
going, yeah.
These folks is clueless.
Yeah. All they know is that it's 2 hours past their arrival time, but soon they will find out what's going on. Tina once again exits the plane to get the parachutes and then re-enters the plane. Florence, our original flight attendant, along with Alice, a third flight attendant, we haven't heard about Alice
I was
yet,
going to say that's a new name.
are then told to exit the plane. So Florence is out and Alice is out, along with the 35 passengers.
Not Tina.
So who's left? Let's take a head count.
The pilot.
The pilot, you got a co-pilot,
Yep.
you got Tina,
You got Don.
you got Don.
Dan.
Dan.
I won't call him Don. That's what he really meant to
But
say.
I thought he'd kept Florence because he spent more time with her. But
She go out on a date with the
Telling
other guy.
you, Florence was a way to get to Tina.
I'm just saying. I bet that guy asked her out afterwards. Like, hey, the guy, the college student that had been watching her. Do you want to go out sometime? We need to find out. Who did Florence marry?
so at this point, Cooper is getting frustrated. Seems like everything has been going pretty much smooth so far, but there was a 5 o'clock deadline and it didn't happen. Now one of the fuel trucks is taking longer than it should to refuel the plane. Mechanical issues was the problem. At least that's what they told the captain when asked. Finally, the captain tells them it's got to be done, and soon after that conversation, the plane is finished refueling. All this was a stunt by the authorities to slow things down and buy more time.
Why doesn't the pilot jump out while they're like unloading? Just shoop. See you later.
I've got that too.
Do you?
They actually have an option to do that. So another reason for Cooper's frustration was money came in a canvas bag or a satchel. What did he ask for?
Backpack.
A backpack. So he's mad about that. Why would he be mad about that?
Because it's messing his plans up.
I know.
He didn't lay this thing out.
$200,000 is probably heavy. You think?
Probably.
If it's all in 20s, that's 10,000 bills. How many bundles do you think that'd be?
I don't know. A lot.
Probably coming. You think it'd be 200 bundles?
can't.
Probably coming bundles of $1,000.
They cataloged all of these bills.
Or is it 2,000? Do they come in bundles of 2,000? I think
don't
that's
know
what it
they
is.
come in.
Yeah.
Never seen that much money in my life. Never had a bundle before.
Come to my house.
If he can get past all them phone numbers he'll find us to give you a bundle.
So why do you think he needs the money in a backpack? He plans on jumping out of the plane with it.
Yeah.
So a backpack would be more convenient, correct?
I feel like that'd get in the way of your parachute.
Well, I don't know.
It does?
It does, doesn't it?
In my brain.
But the way they said, his hands needed to be free. He doesn't be holding the satchel or everything.
Well,
but
you can't
but
put it
you're
on
right.
your back.
You're right.
Strap it on the front. Then you got to reach under there and pull it out.
That would be crazy. I don't know.
They were doing him a favor. They said, listen, here, hold it with your left hand. Pull ripcord with your right hand.
So at this point, Cooper orders all the window shades to be closed, and he opens one of the reserve chutes, or the front chute that we talked about earlier. That's the reserve. He pulls out a knife. Of course, like I said, you could carry knives. They don't know. They're not checking you. And starts cutting the cords to the canopy. They think he was making some type of strap to turn the satchel into a backpack or whatever. They don't really know.
Okay.
All right, the airport or ground control calls the captain and asks for Tina to be released. Cooper tells the captain no.
I love her.
Where'd that come from? Wow. Am I missing a page? I didn't get that story.
Dan and Tina live happily ever after. The end.
Ground control at this point also urged the pilot and co-pilot to escape out of the cockpit window with a rope ladder.
That's what I'm telling you. I'd have been gone. See ya.
But they refused to leave Tina.
Oh.
See, be a
what nice
man,
guys.
Josh. Come on now.
Tina's in on it. Tina's in on it.
Is her name even Tina?
It's Dawn. I know it's Dawn.
So now Cooper is about to get very specific with his next set of instructions. Okay? You listening? This is
Nope.
important.
All right.
The plane will take off with a maximum altitude of 10,000 feet.
Keep it under 10.
Keep it under 10. Do not
Under
go
the radar.
That's where I can skydive from.
Number 2, the flaps should be down at 15 degrees
Oh,
for some type of
Dan's
drag.
getting
He wants to go slow.
specific.
Number 3, he wants the landing gear deployed.
Okay.
Leave it down. Don't put it up. Number 4, he wants to take off with the rear air stairs down.
None of these sound conducive to taking off, really.
Number 5, he wants the plane to fly as slow as possible without stalling.
But that thing is
Tell
slow.
the captain, yeah, how
motion.
slow can you go, Captain, before you stall?
I don't remember how low
Just
can
don't
you go.
stall.
This sounds like lyrics to a song right now.
Number 6, well, this is what he doesn't want to pressurize the cabin, which happens when you get above the 10,000 point, because if you've got we'll go since I don't have that thing. When it's pressurized, if you've got everything closed up, everything's pressurized. When you open up that back stairs or
Creates like a
door,
vacuum.
it starts sucking everything
Yeah.
out. Okay. All right, and now he wants the plane to go to Mexico City. That's where he wants to go.
All right. Seattle to Mexico.
All right, several takeaways from his requests. Whether a door is open or you open a door under that 10,000 feet pressure, you're not running the risk of a big depressurization problem.
Got it.
Okay, so we know that. Number 2, you can breathe the outside air. Can't do that if they go up to 30, 40,000 feet. Can't do it.
Air's too thin.
Yep. All right, flying low and slow will be harder for anyone to track them and follow them, which we will talk about later because that's a big part of it. Okay, and it seems that Cooper has a lot of knowledge about the type of airplane they're in. He knows a lot about these stairs.
He's been doing his research.
That's right. And that's where we're going to stop today.
Ooh.
The next
Does Tina get out?
The next episode is going to be what
From
he
the
does.
ground up.
Does everybody have to stay in the cockpit? They don't know what Cooper's doing. They feel the airplane jostle around. Something's happened. Is he still on the plane? Is he not on the plane? When did it happen? Hey, he's not answering. We call out to him. He's not there.
We'll find out what happens to Tina. I want to know what happens to
You
Tina.
know what happened to Tina?
All right.
I think Tina will be all right.
I think she'll be fine.
We'll see.
Unless he makes her jump with him.
Does Tina have a... Did
That's what
anybody
that second
check?
parachute's for.
Did anybody check Tina's bank account? I want to know.
Tina got paid.
Jody, you did good. I'm intrigued. The D.B. Cooper story
I like
continues.
D.B. Cooper.
All
It's
right.
very interesting.
Stay tuned when you might
Stay
hear
tuned.
Spencer say.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jody.
I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm
Are
done.
you done?
Yeah.
Already? We're done.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
it.
That's it.
That's all for today, folks.
That's all for today. Check us out on it. Hey, if you go
It's
to
not
the
it.
next episode when it comes out and you hadn't listened to the first one, don't listen to the second one. Go to the first one.
Listen to this one before you
That's
listen
right.
to the next
That's
one.
right. And
Should have put that disclaimer at the beginning of this podcast instead of the end of it.
This is part 1 of a part 3 series.
that's right.
Maybe.
And listen to our next episode when you might hear Spencer say,
DB who?
Jump!
That was Josh. The trash can still on?
"That was 43 minutes.
full.
That was good." Yeah, y'all.